All right, good morning, everyone, once again. Welcome to today's class, beginner front-end development. Yeah, last week we did a little bit of DOM. Yeah, we did DOM, and then we did mapping, how to map data to the UI, how to display data using your structured data or your object data, and then you display it for users to see how to create a simple quiz application, which I are saying that you guys are actually trying your best, right? You guys are trying your best to do what you can do. So that's really interesting. So well, we're already 30 minutes away. So we're just going to jump into today's class. We're supposed to be talking about API today, application programming interface. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're going to get to that. But firstly, I would like to just explain to ourselves how we can handle collaboration, Git collaboration, how you do pulling, some of the functions you use in pulling, creating a branch, and all of that. So we're going to start with that. And then after that, immediately when we're done with that, we are going to jump onto the API because next task is going to require us to fetch. Like I said, it's going to be a group. And then same time, it's going to require us to fetch the data. Just fetch something and then you display it. So although fetching data is not like difficult, it's more like you've already created dummy data. So the dummy data you created, instead of creating it locally, you fetch it, like you fetch it from a resource and external resources. So we use this API, the interface, that's what they call it, to fetch those data to your local so that you can display it in your local. Though we'll get to those explanations when we want to jump into this properly. So but for now, let's see how we can just go about doing some stuff with GitHub, how to collaborate and all of that. So firstly, let's open GitHub. So the first thing I would expect us to do for the next task is we are going to create a repository. The team lead is going to create a repo. Just the normal process of creating a repo, go to new. Then let's assume that the name of your group is Team Zeus, or yeah, just anything, just using this Team Zeus, something like that, and then create a repo. We already know how to do all of this already. So then you've created your repo. The next thing to do, well, in some cases, you may have to invite collaborators, right? But I don't know if we are going to be given access or we're going to be allowed to do that. So perhaps maybe we're going to create a repo and then send it to you guys so that you can be seeing all the pull and the push and all the merge. And then we can make a comment. Then Blaze and I can just decide to make a comment on each of the maybe the pull request of someone or whatever. So that's just it. And then after creating a repository, you connect your local VS Code to your repository so that you can make your pushes. So let's do that also. Let me open my VS Code. Okay, so okay. Desktop. I'm sorry, I should have opened this since, but it's just doing one or two stuff. Should be outside. Okay, so let me just create a new folder, say Git collab, something like this. Okay, open. So this is for the person who is creating the repo. And then, or I could just even say it this way. I could say it this way. Let's assume after creating the repo, I've added the repo file, right? So each of us in a group presents the repository to this. We're going to be sending the repository to this particular the link, sorry, to this repository. All right. So now let's see. Let me do this. Just create a single file. .html. Systems loads again. All right. Okay. So now terminal. So I don't want to waste my time on all of this. We already know how to do all of this before. So, and this is just for the person who is creating the repo. We have two ways in which we can do that. It's either we create the repo and add a readme file directly, or someone will create the repo and add a structure to it. So, well, let's just assume that, okay, I'm the one creating the repository and then I want to populate the repo. At least currently, this is what we have. But I want to add something first before I can now share it to us, to the other group members to now to do whatever they want to do with the repo. So let's git init, git add, git commit slash. And so then git add, git commit, git branch dash main. Okay, git remote add origin. Okay, yeah, let's add the origin. Then git push origin main. Okay, so let me refresh now. All right, so now the repository has been created, right? I said it that we have two ways in which you can do this, but let's just assume, okay, repo has been created. That's the first thing. Now, we have about 5 person in a team. Everybody has to collaborate to this project. Let's assume, okay, we have A, B, C, and D, right? And then A is to work on the landing page, B is to work on the about page, C is to work on say contact us, D is to work on service page, and then E is to work on maybe portfolio or something. So that's about 5 persons working on a single project. So the first thing is, how do you even get access? How do you have access to this particular repository? How do you have access to this project? So here is what we do. You come to your code here, and then you copy your Git repo. This is your repository Git repo. This is your, yeah, this is your repository link, right? This is just for people to see what is inside your repo. When you copy this link above your link here, it's just for people to come here and then see what is there. They cannot use that link. They can use this link to clone your repository. Do you understand? So for you to give them access to be able to clone the repository, or for them to be able to clone this repo, say they want to collaborate or push something to it, then you have to copy this code for them. You open this place and then you see HTTPS, right? So you copy the code, and then the link is always ending with .git. If you see the link, if it doesn't end with .git, then you know, okay, it is not a clonable link. It's not a link that you can clone. But like this, if you see, for example, you have TeamSwiss, that's what ends it. So this means that you cannot clone this, right? So the one you can clone must end with .git. So now you copy this, and then let's assume I'm a new person. I don't know anything about this project before. So just minimize. So I got the link, right? Okay, now for me to add myself to the repo, what do I need to do? After having the Git the Git link, I'll have to clone that repository to my local environment. That's the first thing. So for you to clone it, you need to have this link, like I said. So you get this link, it must be shared to us, right? So you get this link and then you do what? You clone it to your local environment. We have two ways of cloning. I always prefer, you can clone from VS Code directly, right? You can clone directly from VS Code using this command. When you open a new tab, you see it, file, open new window. You see clone Git repository. Just the third option here, you're going to see it, clone Git repo. You can either do this, right? If you click on it, then it's going to show you an input where you can just paste the link. So you can paste the link here, and then you clone it like this. You can either do that one, or you can go to your terminal, which I think this is going to be easier for us, but then we are all developers. It's good to know how to do hard things. So the second one and the most common one is for us to go to our terminal. Just open your terminal. We have a CMD. If you don't want to use your terminal, you can use a CMD. You can use your Git bash. We all have Git bash. You can use your CMD or your terminal. So me, I'm going to go to my terminal. So terminal, just search for terminal. Come in. Terminal. All right, so this is my terminal. I believe we can all see the screen. So currently, let me explain something about this terminal. This place is the current folder you are in, the current directory you are in. Directory means the folder. I would just call it a folder where everything, like, it's just like a block that a lot of things happen inside that directory. We have files, we have folders, we have a lot of things inside that directory. So it's more like a folder also. So currently, if you see something like this, that means you are in the home directory. This is the home directory, right? But then you need to navigate to your desktop. If you have your project on your desktop or you have it somewhere else, mostly we all have our projects on our desktop. So how do we navigate to our desktop? We use the CD command, which is the change directory, a CD command here. But then let's assume I don't even know where I am. I don't know where I am. I want to list the folders. I want to list all the items I have inside this particular directory so that I will know where to navigate to, right? So I'll just use ls. ls is a list command. It's a list bash command that is used to list all the items you have, all the files or folders you have inside a particular directory. So if you write ls and press enter, you see all the places you can actually navigate to. So now we have applications, movies, music, pictures, postman, all of this. But where am I going to exactly? I want to go to desktop. This is where I want to go to. So then how do I navigate to my desktop? We use the cd command. So we have cd, which means change directory, cd your desktop, just like this. That means change directory to what? To my desktop. Then you enter, then you now see the current directory is what? Desktop. You can see it here. Check my cursor, you see it there. That's desktop. That's changed from this to this. All right. Now I want to go to, let's say I don't want to have this project on my desktop. I have a folder on my desktop where I save all my projects. Just list again to see all the folders. These are the folders you have on your desktop, everything. So you can now decide which one exactly are you going into. Are you going into bash, logo, and all of these things? So, but where I want to go exactly is Sheriff project, Simple's project, or where is it? Simple's project. Yeah, this particular one. So what do? I just cd simple underscore project, and you have to follow the name. So just enter, and then you are inside Simple project currently. So I can ls to see all the projects I've been working on and all of that. So this I. So but then I'm inside this project now. I want to clone that repo that I have currently inside this particular project so that I can keep working on this project. It's your choice. Some persons have most of their work on their desktop. Some persons have most of their work on their download, inside their download. So it depends on where you have your own project, where you used to have your own task and all of that. So, but as for me, I have my project inside a folder on my desktop, which is Simple's project. Now, how do I clone this particular repository? So we use git add, git init, git all of those git commands to do a lot of stuff. So now to clone, just from the name clone, git clone, then the repository. So you say git clone. So then paste the repository that you copied. I want to clone. You're just telling git, okay, git, clone this repository. You don't need to create a folder first. The git is going to clone the repository and then create a folder for it. The folder is going to be named Team Zeus. You know, your repo name is what? Team Zeus. So the folder is also going to be named what? Team Zeus. So this is just it. Git clone that repository, then enter, then you just wait for it. So fine, it says cloning into Team Zeus, then remote eliminating all of these things, then receive object 100%, right? So for you to be sure, currently listen has been cloned because you already see receiving object 100% done. Now you have to list. You don't just currently, you know, we are cloning inside Simple's project. That's a folder. So we have to list first, ls, see if this Team Zeus folder has already been cloned inside our Simple's project. So now let's list and then let's look for it. So we look for Team Zeus. Okay, fine, look at it here. That means I have Team Zeus inside my Simple's project. So fine, the next thing to do is I need to cd into this Team Zeus and then start my VS Code from there. So I can either do that or just go back to my, after cloning, go back to my VS Code and then open this project from my VS Code, right? I can do that. Or I can also do this, I can also do this, just say cd Team Zeus like this, enter, and then ls to see what I have. I only have index.html. Remember, that is what the person, assuming I'm not one who created a repo, the person that created the repo only added index.html, remember. So then I can see index.html inside the project. Now, what do I need to do? I want to open this project with VS Code. So the code to open the project on VS Code is code spacebar, then dot. Use code spacebar dot to open this particular project. You just open, just like open a folder using your VS Code. So if I should press enter now, okay, I'm getting command not found because there's a lot of configuration that has to do with MacBook and terminal. So for me to be able to do that, just go back to your VS Code, anyone, go back to your VS Code, any VS Code, and then type Command Shift P. Let me remove this guy. Okay, let me just use this. So I have Shift Command P, then shell command install. This may vary, so you don't have to worry about it. I think on Windows, if you're using Windows, it is direct. You don't have to do all this configuration. Because I'm using Mac, then it requires a lot of this configuration. But then if you are facing it and then maybe it requires you to do something, just use Shift Control and then P, Shift Control, hold Shift Control together and then P. Then it's going to come up with this. Then you can just look for your shell command. Look for shell command, install code command in parts. Just look for this name like this. Install code command in parts. Shell command, install code command in part. Then click on it and then click select OK. So that will be all. So if I should close this now, close this, and then I open this using the code spacebar dot again. That means code. Open this folder. Dot means this current folder. Any place you see dot, any place, even if you say git dot, that means git. Enter this current folder. Code dot, that means code, VS Code. Open this current folder. This current folder that. So if I should click on enter now, then I'll just wait for it to open. It's going to open that project automatically for me from VS Code. So that is that. Now you have the project in your own local environment. While the other person has it too, I myself also have it. So now let's try something. Let's assume I make a change. Okay, I make a change now. I decided to add. Let me just add style. Or no, let me just make a change inside my index. So let me just add something. I'll just put a comment. I would say simple 2 parts, something like that. So I'll now add h1. Let's say I'm adding simple 2. Okay, so save it. You don't need to do your git initialize anymore because already the repo you copied has already been initialized. Do you understand? when you have a new repo on your terminal, sorry, let's say your own, the one you created yourself, and it has not been initialized before. So you can do what? You can do git initialize from the beginning. But in this case, you don't have any repo. Sorry, you are copying from someone, you are cloning someone else's project. So you don't really need to do git initialize anymore. After you're done with your changes, you've made all the things you want to do, you want to push back. You want to push back to that repo for the person that created, let's say Femi Blaze. So for Femi Blaze to see your changes and then merge your changes to the master or whichever place we are using as the development. So we just do what? Go to your terminal again. You can either do this from your VS Code that you're using, from your terminal that you're using before, or if it is not so convenient for you, just the same way you've been doing it before, come back here and then do what? Just check your status first. It is good to check the status of your changes. Just check git status to see what you have done. So you're going to say, okay, you've modified index.html. That means you've added something to your index.html. Do you understand? So then after that, you say git add, right? Okay, let me say this before we move forward. For every project, it is required that when you are working differently from a remote place and you're working on a different page, it is required that you create a different branch. It is required that you create a different branch. I think I made a mistake, although it can still be done. But for it to be easy for us, the first thing you need to do, let's just do that. Before you even make any change, before you make anything at all, the first thing you need to do is to what? Is to create a branch. That will make it very easy for you. After making your changes and all of that, you can still create your branch and then everything will work fine. Yeah, but for it not to get complicated for us, first thing after cloning, and then you've opened the project, I need to create my own branch. So how do you create a different branch that is not the branch that you clone initially? So you just say git, let's assume you are working on about us page, right? So git branch dash B. So this is to create a different branch. Git branch dash B, then the name of the branch. Git branch, you guys should write it down because we may not have to repeat this anymore. Git branch dash B, the name of the new branch you want to create. So I'm working on about us. I can say simple about us page. About us page. Something like this. Why did I add simple? Is for it to be for someone who is checking the pull request to know who is making the pull request. So if you see this one now, you see that, okay, I think this request is from simple, right? Then you know, okay, it is about us page. So that is very clear. It's for simple, it is about us page, right? So you just now creating this plumbing. What's going on? Git branch. Communal git branch dash. Oh, sorry. This is not it. This is it should be git checkout. Sorry for that. I'm very sorry. I think I missed it. Git checkout, yeah. Git checkout dash B simple about us page. Okay, I made a mistake there. The git branch is used to just check the branch that you are and then change branch from one place to another after it has been created. But to create a new one, you have to use git checkout. I'm very sorry for that. So checkout means just check out a new branch. Then dash B means it's a new one that I want us to check out to. Git checkout dash B. If you do git checkout the branch already, they will ask you that the branch does not exist because you have to have a branch before you can check out without your dash B. But if you're adding dash B, that means that branch is a new branch. If you want to create a new one, you have to add dash B. So git checkout dash B simple about us page. So now let's enter. So you're seeing now that we have let me increase this. Hopefully it's going to show. I believe we are all seeing my screen, right? Let me just be sure we are seeing the screen. Please, if you are seeing the screen, just raise your hand, please. Let me be sure I've not been just talking to myself. All right. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank God. All right. So after switching to a new branch, right? Let's listen to how I started. So don't worry about who is creating the branch or how the branch, who is creating the repo or how the repo is created. All you need to know is, okay, I get the Git link, and then I'll clone into my own local environment. I'll make my change, but before I make my change, right, I'll have to create a new branch. So how do you create a new branch? You say git checkout dash B simple about us page. Checkout dash B. That means check out to a new branch. Then what is the name of the branch that you want to create? This is it. So after that, you are currently in a new branch. So if you check git branch now, you see that you are currently in simple about us page. That's why this one is colored green. So we have both main branch and simple about us page. So after that, you can now make your changes, do anything you want to do. Everything you are doing is not going to reflect in the main. It is only going to reflect in the simple about us page. And one thing is, for every time you are creating a branch, ensure, try as much as possible to create the branch from the parent branch, from the main branch. That's the development branch. If you are creating a branch, try as much as possible to create that branch out of the main branch or development branch, right? So why is that? Why is it very important? Is for you to get the updates update of the main or development branch. So that's why we have to like create our own branch from the main branch. You know, we cloned the main branch and then we created our own branch from there. So now after doing that, let me make simple changes. Let me make a change. Let me say, just comment this first, simple part, right? And then I'll make a change. H1 simple part. All right, so after that, save. And then let's check the status first to see what we've changed. So git status, right? Okay, index.html. That means we've made changes to index.html. Now we do git add, right? This is to add our new changes. Although for me, if I'm making changes, a simple change like a text change, I'm not adding another, if I'm not adding another file or another image or something significant, if it is just text that I'm changing, I'll always use git add -u. Although that may be very complicated for us, just go with the git add dot and then enter. Now git commit. This git commit is very, very important. Very, very important because it enables the person that wants to check your pull request to know what you've worked on. So now my git commit will now carry what I've worked on. I can just say changed or no, added a file or sorry, a line of code to the index.html, right? So this has to be very self-explanatory to what you do. Sometimes some person's commit message is going to be as long as like they will tell you everything they have done. So, but then just make sure that your commit message is very, very explanatory. So then enter. Now, after committing, what is next for us to do is to push. I need to push back to that repo, right? Remember, we did not do git init and git all of those things because it is not our repo. Do you understand? But it is an open repository. That's why we don't have any issue. So it is not our own repository. Now, first thing, after doing all of these changes, after blah, 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 all of that. So you just, just git push origin. You can even check status to see if this thing has been added. You know, initially it is red. So if you check git status now, it's going to be green. Okay, I think we've passed that level already. So git push origin. So where am I pushing to? I'm not pushing to main. Remember, I created a new branch, so I'll push to my own new branch. So I'll say simple about us page. So now let's wait for it. Fine. That means that branch has been pushed, has been created, and files has been added to it, and then has been pushed to the repository. So that is done. You are done on your own part. The person that is contributing is done on his own part. Well, just locally. So now what is left is for you to go back to the terminal. Go back to the repo. After you have done your changes and all of that, you see something here that comes up as, okay, simple about us page. The brand that I created had recent pushes less than a minute ago. That means this is telling the person that owns this repo that this person have made a recent push less than a minute ago. So now from your own end, you are going to see it also. You see it also. So what is left for you to do is now to create a pull request telling the person that will merge that, okay, oh, bros, I've made these changes and I want you to merge this my branch to the main branch. I want you to merge this my branch to the main branch so that the changes that I've made is going to show on the main branch. Before we do this, let me show you guys something. So currently we have made a change on the simple about us page, right? We have H1 here. If I should check out back to my main, you realize that this change is not going to be there. So let's do that. Git, now I want to go back to where I was initially, which is the main. Git checkout main. This is not a new branch, so I don't have to add -p. So it's just an old branch that we already have before. So enter. So you see, now your branch is up to date with origin main. Switch to branch main. Now this is our main. As you can see the main now, I don't have what? That text. That text that I added, that simple whatever, I don't have it here. So I only have that changes or that text inside my simple about us page branch. Which means for me or for this my changes to reflect or to show on the main branch, which is the normal branch that we are going to deploy, for it to show on the main branch, I have to make a pull request to the dev or the lead team that, okay, bro, I've made these changes. Please kindly merge my branch to the main branch so I can have the changes locally. So that's why it is important to make your pull request. If not for Git, some person, I don't think the master should be able to see this thing, but the way they made it is that the lead team or anybody can see this notification here. So that's what I feel is not a good thing. I believe this should be seen only by the person that made the push. But then let's assume that, okay, fine, it is done. We want to make our pull request. Click on compare and pull request. Compare and pull request. So if you have a conflict, we'll get to that later, then this is going to show conflict. You will not be able to merge directly. But in this our case, our changes is very small, right? Our changes is small and then it's not causing any conflict. So now you can see, open a pull request. Okay, let me assume something. Let me show you guys something. In case you push and then you do not see that in there, let's say I just go back to code now. Say I just go back to code. All right, let's assume that I made a push and then I did not see, okay, it's still showing, but then let's assume that I'm not seeing this thing there at all, right? And then I want to make a pull request. Do you understand? Just come to pull request here. Just forget about this guy here. In some cases, you have about 100 push in a minute, and then you see you have like, it's going to be too much. So you don't get to see like your own. This is simple about us page because it's just one. I can see it easily. But what if you have about 100 something here? So you can't be searching for everything. So just come to pull request, right? And then create a new pull request. You can see it here. New pull request. Just create it like this. And then you can see the branches, the new commit. This is simple us page, right? This is the main, the old main. So just click on the new, your own page. Just click on it like this. All right. So this is the request that I'm trying to pull. This is the request. This is the branch that I wanted to pull. So from here, you can see the changes. It's the same thing. It's still the same thing. You are comparing the changes. So from here, you can see the changes here. File changed. What did you add? to the, what did you add exactly? So you see it's plus plus plus. That means I added a space, I added a comment, and then I added this part. Right? So now you can do, it is still able to merge. And this is it, the base and the compare. The base is where you are merging to, where you want this person to merge your branch to. That's the main. And then the one you are merging, the one you are pulling, which is the one you are comparing with the main, is what? The one you want, your own branch that you want to make pull request for. That is what will be here. So if we have multiple pages, we are going to see everything here. So you can select anyone. You can select any branch that you want to pull, that you want to merge to the main. But for now, it is simple about us page that we want to merge, and it is able to merge. It is very able to merge. So what do we do? Check the changes and then come here to create pull request. So here, your commit message is going to show. Added a line of code to the index.html. You can add more commit message. You can add any other thing to it. You can even put full stop and say, I added simple and added hashtag with simple part text, something like this. And then one part again that is very, very important is to screenshot the display of your output. Screenshot your output. Just screenshot it. Now I work on this thing, right? So I want them to see the UI of what I've done, because you cannot just send me code or send me branch for me to merge and I did not see what you've done. I need to be sure if what you've done is what it is expected. What if your flex is not flexing? What if your grid is not gridding? What if what you are supposed to do, you didn't do it properly? So right, so that's why you need to like screenshot the UI. To screenshot is just basically, normal screenshot. Now let's start this one. Go to live. Come in. Okay. I don't want this here. All right, so let's just go to live. All right, so now you can see the change. I've created hello. Okay, sorry, this is still simple parts. I think I made a mistake. Let me check out back to simple. I'm currently on main. That's why I'm seeing just hello. But I want to check out back to simple. Simple, git checkout. Simple about us page. All right, so now I can check now. See, now I have simple part. Now this is the changes, right? I will now screenshot that. Okay, this is what I've done for you to see it, so that you can say, okay, I think you've done the right thing. I can access it from the screenshot. Even you can add like 4, 5, 6, 7, as much as you want. You can add a video to this place. You can attach a video here. You can attach a link. You can attach anything just for you to show the team lead or whoever is going to be merging your request, for you to show what you have done. So we can just say, now screenshot this, and then I've done the screenshot from my end. Now let me add that screenshot to this place. It says attach file by dragging and dropping, selecting or pasting. Okay, let's see how we can drag. Trying to see if you can select directly from here. Okay, now let me go to my desktop where I have what I've screenshotted now. Okay, so this is it, I believe, right? Now, if you paste it, all right, so this is the image. Don't worry about it's just turning the image to an embedded link, right? So just don't worry. I've pasted the image to it now. So after that, you've added your commit message, your comment, and then you've added you've added the image, sorry, the screenshot of what you've done. You can check the preview here. Just click on the preview to see what you've added. So if you want to add more pages or more screenshots, just click again and then add the next one. Click again and then add the next one. So let's assume I have another one. You can still add that one also. Just click open like this, and then you have this. Just wait for it to upload. Then you have the second one. You can preview that one also. Just preview everything. So the first one, that's the first thing that you screenshot. The second one is, so after doing this, the person that wants to merge can easily access everything by checking the UI. the color, the combination, check the design if everything is okay and fine, and then just create your pull request. Create your pull request like that. So wait for it to create. All right, so that is done on your own part. That is done. So you've been able to create your pull request successfully. Now, what is left is for do not go to merge pull request. Don't try it. This is not your responsibility. What you need to do is to create your own pull request and then add your pictures, your comment, and then create your pull request. Now, the person that wants to merge is who is left now that will handle it from here. So now your commit message is this, as you can see, and this is the images for the person to see. And then you leave it like that. All you have to do now is just to go to the person, maybe the chat, and just tell the person, hello, sir, I've made my pull request. Kindly review and merge my branch. That's all. But don't try it. If you're working on your own project, if you are the master, you are the main, you are the dev or whatever, so you can do your merge or whatever. But if you're working in a team, don't try to merge your own pull request. It is very, very wrong. Only if you are given the permission to do so. If you are given permission to merge your request, then you can do. But if you are not, just inform the team lead to merge your request for you. Now, as a team lead, whoever the team lead is going to be, let's assume, okay, sorry. Come in, go back. Let's assume someone made a request and then he chatted, okay, boss, please, I've been able to make my request. Please kindly go there and review my request. The person is going to see a pull request here, one. The person will say that, okay, this person, I think I have a pull request one here. So I'll click on it. That's the team lead, though. This is the part of the team lead now. Now you see the request here, added a line or all of this. This is the pull request from someone. Click on it like this to see the request. Now you can now see the request. You can see the person's comment, see the images, just access it, see what is there, and then see if everything is fine. And then you can either add a comment, say, thank you for the design, add something like that, or you can add a comment that this is not nice. You can say, please, your color combination is not perfect. Kindly do whatever it is you want to do with it, right? So you can just add this comment like this. And then the person just add the comment like that. So if the person connects, definitely should get the comment in his, like an alert inside his email or something like that. So you're going to see that, okay, the leader has made a comment on your branch. The branch that you are asking for him to like merge for you, the person has made a comment on it. So you can just, this is the comment from the team lead's part. For your own part, the same thing, you're going to see it also. Just go to your own request again, and then just scroll down. You're going to see the comment here. Please, your color combination is not perfect. So you can now say, okay, I think I made a mistake with my color combination. You can go back to your code and then make the changes and then make your commit again and then make your pull request again. So that is why the comment is important. The comment is just there for you to see your changes or to say, okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry guys. The network, simple phone network was going off. In case you have any question, please can you try to judge? Please unmute and speak.
Good morning, boss. Um, Please, I saw a video on how to clone using Git batch, and it was a little bit easier. If I do that, does it actually really affect my maybe creating a new branch as long as I get it to my local desktop? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. The point is you are just pushing to an existing branch. If you are, it's still the same process. You are pushing to an existing branch actually. So you're not changing anything. If you use it that way, if you use it another way, you're not changing anything, Judge.
Yeah, but as long as I can get it to my local branch, even if I use Git batch, it's okay, right? The most important thing is creating a new, pushing it to a new
Yes,
branch
yes,
in the
yes, yes,
terminal.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that method is easier for me and faster.
All right, thank you. Can we see my screen now? Can we all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you, George. Okay, so I don't know where the network just took me off, but then what I was trying to say is for the team list part, you have to come here, access everything that you want, and then if it's okay, you can either add a comment here, then comment, or you can just merge directly. So after merge and then you see confirm merge, just wait for it to merge, and that will be all. So pull request successfully merged and closed. So you can delete the branch here. That means you've merged this particular branch to the main. So you can either delete it or you just leave it. But for training purpose, I would just suggest that we leave it. Let's just leave it there so we can. In some cases, you see like 100 branches in a particular project, but just leave it. So having done that, now let's go back to our code and then let's check the main. So I've been able to merge the new branch to the main branch now. So if you check, we have main and then simple about this is the new branch that I created and this is the main branch. So now that is done. If you check your main now, what you need to do first locally, for me as the team, I'll have to pull. For you also, sorry, for everyone also who is working after merging whichever work to the main branch, right? And then you need to get the updated main, right? You know, we've merged something to the main now, so we need to get the updated main. So let's check out first. Check out main. Go back to main. All right, so that thing is still not there yet because I only merged it in my repo remotely. I did not merge it locally. Do you understand? So how do I have to like get the updated main to my local environment so that I can see the new merged branch. So let's say git pull origin main. That means pull origin main. This pull is very, very important. Like very, very, very important. Why? Because you are working with team and you don't know who has made a change currently. You don't know if someone has added something recently to the main branch. You don't know what change has been made because you are working here. You're not with them. Do you understand? So you have to, for every time you want to create a new branch from your main, ensure, try as much as possible to do what? To pull first. Pull first from the main. Pull first. You have to pull. That means, okay, I need to pull to get the latest main before I can now make changes, right? So git pull origin main. That means pull from the origin main. Then after pulling, now you can see index.html 3++, one file change, 3 insertion, all of that. Now I can now get that simple part branch that I've merged. I can now get it inside my main. Currently, I'm inside main, and then I'm having the changes that so I'm having it now here. So if I should check this in my terminal or in my environment now, I can see it like hello and then simple part. So what we have done now is basically we clone, we open the folder in our VS Code, we created a new branch, we added something to the new branch, we make changes, and then we push back to the repository. And then after pushing back to the repository, we make a pull request. Well, you have to attach a file, an image or a link, or then add the comment to it to let the person know, okay, this is the thing I've been able to do, and then make your pull request and then leave it like that. So your team lead will now go back there and then check your pull request, check the changes you've made, check the images you've added, if it is accurate and proper, and then it's going to merge the branch to the main branch. Remember, always start your development, always start your own changes from main. Try as much as possible to go to main and check out from main. And before you check out, pull first from main to get the latest from the main. Get the latest. What if someone has added header to the main, but then, you know, from the initial there was no header, so I've been working. So, and then I want to make a change. Let's say I come to main, and then I want to check out to somewhere. What I need to do first before checking out is to pull from the main to get the latest from the main. After pulling, I can now check out to my own branch to now make whatever it is I want to do. Let's say footer or form or anything. So any question on that? Any question? Any question? Any question?
Hello, boss. Can you hear me? I have a question.
I can hear you. I can hear you, George.
Oh, okay. When it comes to taking the screenshot, is it compulsory to take a screenshot of it? Because I'm not sure some of our system can do that. If you have a system that can take a screenshot or a photo, what do we do in such cases? Is the comment is the comment basically the only thing we can add, and then hope that the person follows up with whatever we wrote there?
Well, it's very, very important to add a picture. Like, it's very, very good. Although if you're working with someone and then the person trusts your judgment, like the person trusts your code, like, okay, this boy is perfect, he cannot do anything wrong, so you may not need that. Do you understand? So, but it is very, very good because, you know, as a team lead, you're working with 5 different persons. Do you understand? What if someone you're supposed to create a landing page header? So this is what you're supposed to create with blue color. You know, okay, me, I don't want to use blue. The design is blue, and it's expected that you use blue. You now go on and use maybe red, and the design is not even fine. What you did is very wrong. You did not do it correctly, right? You now ask me to merge, and because I did not see it as a team lead, I did not see the changes. I did not see the UI, the design. I did not see it, so I just assumed that, okay, you've done it, and then I will just merge. Now merging to the main branch now means that thing is there. So if I now try to open it on my own, I will now after I don't merge them, that's when you now see that, oh, this thing is wrong. Wow, why would you do something like this? Then that part you have to start deleting and all of those, which is not a good practice. Do you understand? So that's why it is very, very important to add a picture so that I can see what you have done. Then I can just merge it before even if I have comment, I can make the comments directly from there. Do you understand? And every system can screenshot. Every system can screenshot. If you're using a window, use window print screen. Window print screen. If you are using a window that does not have, or maybe your window is not working or print screen is not working, use a snippet or a sniper, or I've forgotten all those tools that you can use.
How do we even do that? I've never done it before in my system.
Do you know the window key?
Yeah, I know.
Just search for snippet tool now. If you're using Windows, you see it.
Snippet tool.
Yes.
Yeah, you can use
snippets. Okay, I've seen snippets. Yeah, I've seen snippet tools.
Yeah, just Yeah, you can undo that after the class or anybody. Just you can use that one to
Okay.
screenshot and
Oh,
then
okay.
yeah, so that's very okay. Why it is very, very good to have a picture. Very, very good. Like I said, if you're working with someone you trust, like someone you trust really well, then you don't need all those pictures. But how do we just is it that you have to put a picture? That's just the thing. Because there could be a mistake somewhere. All right, so I believe we are all good with the collaboration. So right now, if a repo is created and then we are given the repo to add something to it, we're going to do it fine and accurately. I may not be able to show us how to resolve conflict right now because there's no way I'll get a conflict. So I don't know how to create a conflict for myself. But let's assume we have a conflict. There are ways in which you just go to your GitHub. Well, during the project, I'm very, very sure we'll have conflict. That will be next week. During the next task, we'll have conflict. And then if I'm not available and if Feminist is available to resolve the conflict, it will explain to us how it will show us how to fix the conflict also and all of that. So let's not worry about that for now. Okay, so that's that about the collaboration.
Thank you. I've done it. It worked.
All right. So that's that about the collaboration and all of that. Now let's see what we can do about API in just 20 minutes. In just 20 minutes. I don't really have enough time. So let's create, okay, which branch am I on currently? Let me check. So it's not good to make changes on your main branch. Okay, so let me git check out. And let's try as much as possible to have separation of concerns to our branches. Let's say this branch is for hero header, this one is for nav, this one is for footer. So it's good to have separation of concerns for us. So now let's say this one is for API, right? So I'll just say currently I'm inside API, git branch. Let me confirm that. Yeah, API. Okay. So now I want to create app.js, right? Now we are trying to fetch a data. Remember last week or last class, we talked about creating a dummy data using, let's say, const dummy equals to data like this, where you have array of objects with keys and then value. Remember? So this is what we have last week. So you can create multiple of these. You can create 4, 5, 6, or anything that you want to create. Right now, in this case, we are not creating a dummy data anymore. We want to fetch this data from an external resources. We have REST country is an open source, it's free. We have JSON placeholder and all of that. So we are going to be using the JSON placeholder. So, but for us to fetch data, there's this JavaScript inbuilt method in which people or you use to fetch data. There are a lot of methods, but the inbuilt one that comes with JavaScript automatically is the fetch method. The fetch method is used to fetch data. Fetch data, post data, just do stuff with API. That's just it. You use fetch to do a lot of things with API. And then we have methods. We have different type of method in which you can use here. We have the post. We have the default one is the get. The default, that means if you do not pass anything, we get the get method, which is to get a data, right? This is to get, that's fetch everything to your own local environment. But then if you want to post, you have to create a method for that. That one is not default. You have to specify that, okay, this particular fetch now is for post. So we have the post method. We have the put method. This is to update something, just put, like update. Let's say you have name, Sheriff, class, SS1 and all of that, and you want to change SS1 only. So you use put, right? And then we have the delete method. There are many more. We have the patch, the updates, a lot of stuff like that, depending on which one you're using. Some persons use patch instead of put, while some use update instead of put. So they call it CRUD. They call it CRUD approach, CRUD. So what's the meaning of CRUD? We have the create. CRUD means create. That's to create an instance of the data. When we have read, this read means get, like read an instance of a data. Then we have update. This is same thing as put, right? And then we have what's the last one? Delete. This is same thing as the last one. So I can, like I said, the name can actually, if you are using Postman, the name is this. If you are using other places, the name could be this. So the get is read. The post is create. Post means when you post something there, that means it's just like you're posting something to like posting a letter or all of those things. So you are creating, then you are putting, you are updating, and then you are deleting also. So they call it CRUD operation. CRUD, anywhere you see CRUD operation means they create, they read, update, and then they delete. It's basically for API integration and all of that in our project. So that's that. And how do you do all of these things? What method do you use in doing all of these things? You use what? The fetch method. We have Axios, we have a lot of methods that you can use, but those ones may require you to install them. But like I said, the default one that comes with JavaScript is the fetch method. Then how does the fetch method works? Let's say I want to fetch an API. For example, let's say const API URL. I've gotten the URL, right? I've gotten the URL that I want to fetch. This is more like a link, the link we are getting for our CSS, for our script, all those CDN. So this is more like it. So I've gotten the URL. Let's say URL is https://url.url.url. For example, let's say this is the URL that I want to fetch data from, right? So then I will say fetch, that's the function, fetch API URL, right? So this is just it. This is just it. This is I would say this is just it, Shabo. This is basically it, to fetch a URL, fetch a data from a URL. So just declare your fetch. Like I said, it's a method, right? So it takes a parameter. It takes a lot of parameters. Could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, because some parameters do have a query. So, but we'll get to that. But for now, it takes a single parameter, which is the URL that you want to fetch. Do you understand? So we can now say then. So I will explain this. When you're using a fetch method which is just for to get, if you're not using a post, right now the method is not post, is not put, is not delete. It's just for you to get the data. So you say fetch API URL, that's all. Then. That means, okay, after fetching this URL, what do you want to do with it? That's where the then comes in. Then is not something you can change. You can't say .them or .us. No, it's then, right? So you can now say then. So after fetching this, what should now happen? So you can now say, this thing that I fetched, the response, the data that I fetched, I want to represent it with something like we have been doing with our .map method, that you now represent all of the data with one particular data, right? So in this case, we can say we want to represent this thing with a response. Let's just represent it with a response. That means the response you are getting from the API. So that's it. Then response. You can either have it like this or have it anyhow, right? Just open like this. So then response, just say console.log response, console.log response. So here it is. So I have my API URL first. That's the first thing I need, right? And then I want to fetch that URL. Then after fetching the URL, what do I do with it? So that's where the .then comes in. So after fetching, then now console.log that response. So, but then I need to represent this thing that I fetched with a variable, with a parameter, which is what I did here. Remember, you do this then, so represent it with a variable. Then what is the callback function that you want to do? I want you to console.log the response. I don't know if is that like clear? Is that clear to us?
Hello, boss.
Yeah,
the
with you.
parameter response can be anything, Abi. Can be anything.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a response. Yeah, it could be anything. It could be anything. So yeah. So which other question? Okay, I think we are all good, right? Please, I don't want to go forward and then we get confused. So if we are not okay with that, just let's talk now so we can talk about it. All right. Okay, I think we are okay with that. So let's see what we have now. Let's see what we have. Let's look for a URL. For now, we are going to be using JSON placeholder. That's the URL we're going to be using. Just a simple placeholder. I already opened it here. So how do you search for it? Just type JSON. Sorry, JSON is like this, placeholder. JSON means JavaScript object notation. It's just object notation to represent something in an object manner. I think I will show you how that works. JSON placeholder. This is the first one. This is the website. So let's get the link. So I said try it. So this is the URL. Let's just copy this like this. This is the same thing that we did. Copy it, and then let's replace this. So this is the same thing that we did, but what we need to do now, since we already have a const for our URL, let's just replace this with a URL, cut this out, and then do API URL. It's the same thing, right? So I save it here. So this is this, and this is this. So it's the same thing. So now this is it. Const URL, this is our API URL, right? And then fetch, that means fetch this URL. Then after fetching it, then response, represent whatever you fetch with a response, right? So response.json. Now convert that response to a JSON format. Convert that response, because when you're fetching the data first from an endpoint, right? The response is always not in a structured format. It's always very scattered. So it is not in a structure. So we have to convert it to a JSON format. JSON format is JavaScript object notation, to arrange it in an object format that we are going to say it properly. Let's see how it looks like. Let's save this first. Let me link that script. Script source, then app.js. Okay, so let's save it. Then let's see document, check your inspect. All right, we have an object from what we fetched. So we have an object with the name of what we fetched. We have the complete false, ID, title, and all of this. It's just a fake. These are all fake data. So as you can see, the object that we created, remember when we created our object from our last task, this is how it looks like. A key and a value, a key and a value, a key and a value, and the user ID. So let's see, this is because we added one here, as you can see here, from the endpoint. This is a link to the endpoint. So we want to get a to-do, but then it is the added one. That means just get one of it. That's the first one. Let's assume I want to get a lot of it. I want to get posts, 100 posts. I can come here, just click on post. Okay, the route for post like this. So let's see. Okay, these are the posts. You can just copy this thing here, or these are the posts that we have, about 100. Well, no, let's not do this. Let me see this. I think it's the same thing. All right. So what you need to do is just slash post, remove the one, and we are going to remove the to-do because it is post that I want. Post, then I don't want this one. This is the endpoint. This is the primary endpoint, right? And then this is the query that you're adding to the endpoint. That means you want the post. You can change it to to-do if you don't want a post. That's why we have multiple here. You can change it to post, change it to comments, albums, photos, to-dos, and user. Those are the things you can change it to. So for now, we want to get all posts. Now let's save it and see what we have in our terminal. Okay, this is okay. Is it post or posts? Okay, posts, sorry. As S. All right, let's do that again. All right, so now we have the object now. And this is showing as an object because we converted the data to a response.json. So if I open the first one, I get this object, open the second one, open the third one, open the fourth one. This is just like the DOM data we created. Remember, it is just like DOM data we created, nothing different. DOM data includes the body, ID, the key, and the value, So this is an array. It's first one, second one, third one, fourth one. All you have to do to display all this data is to just map through your response, and then you have all of this data in your UI. So, but then I want to explain why we are using response.json. So let's assume, let me comment this out, and then let me console.log response here and see what we have. Console.log response, right? Without using the JSON, let's just console.log response. So let's see. So this is what we get as a response. This is just an unstructured, as you can see, it is not structured. So, but then what we need exactly is the data. We don't need all of this. This is just telling us about the API. This is the body where all of the data is included. It is here. This is where data is. So, but then we cannot open it. Okay, so this is it. But then what we need is the data inside of this response. We don't need this response like this, but we need the data inside it. But then there are some cases in which you want to check for the status of your response, right? We want to check for the status of your response. Let's go back. Let's go back like this. Okay, so now in that case, you convert the response to a JSON format. That's why we say response.json. That's the first thing. Then response.json. Then after doing that, after converting into a JSON format, we now say .then again. You can use .then 100 times as far as you want something to happen after something has happened. So this one will not happen until this one has happened. That's what .then does. .then is like an async method, an async way to get your data when one thing has happened before another one happens. So this will not happen. Number two will not happen until the data has been fetched. So when data has been fetched, now do this. Then this last one will not happen until this response has been converted to a JSON format. I said JSON format is JavaScript object notation, just to convert your response to an object. So then after converting it, then now I'm representing the conversion to a JSON, representing the conversion with a JSON also. So I'm now saying what console.log the JSON, which is the data that we want exactly. So now let's save it again and see what we have. Let's see. Okay, so this is what we have. We have our data and everything is working fine as our data. Now, but then in some cases, what if the data is wrong? Something happened to the network, and then you need to like check a lot of stuff. That's where if statement, I think we've done if already, so we should be familiar with that. So let's say, in this case, before adding the response, I would say if response dot okay. Let me show us that again. Let me come back. Let's come back. Let's come back. Let's come back. Let's come back. I want to console.log response without adding the before making a JSON format. Let's console this thing again and see what we have. See, we have this one. So here you can check the status of your response. You can check if it is okay. This is we use this. Someone is saying something. Okay, so in this case, when you're fetching an endpoint, you're fetching API, you have to check if the response is even successful first before you now say, okay, I want to convert that into a JavaScript object notation. Because sometimes when you fetch something, the backend there might be error from the backend. Maybe the backend there's a bug on the backend and it's not sending the data that is expected. So how do you check first if this response is okay? So we have status. We have status in API. We have status from 200 to 301. From 200 to 301, if I'm not wrong, is a successful status. If you have any response from 200, 202, 250, at least 200 to 301, it is success. But if you have anything from 400, yeah, I think that's it. From 400 down to 500 or 505 or anything, that means the response is what is not successful. Okay, thank you. So from 200 to like 3 or something is success, but from 400 down to, if you have if this response, as you can see, the status now is showing 200, that means our response is what? Successful. And then the okay is what? True. So if this response, if this status is what? Is 400, this okay will be what? False, because 400 means error in the response. You can have 401, 400, 401, 402, 403, 501, a lot of error response like that from 400 upward. So that's the difference. So if you see anything 200, that means your status or your response fetch is what successful. But then we still have to check, because we can't be checking all of these things. We still have to check, right? So how do we check? We say just here. So I would say if response, and then there's something I need to explain to us. I think I've been skipping that for a while. If you notice something, if I want to have a single callback callback instruction, I don't need to add my parentheses. I'm having a single callback instruction, like console.log response is a single callback instruction. So in that case, I don't need this parentheses. This is the parentheses, like, sorry, I don't need this curly bracket, sorry. So like this, it's still going to work. But if I have this like this, that means I'll have to use return or something, right? But in this case, I only have one single response or one single instruction. I don't really need to have that curly braces. I can just put it like this. It's going to work. But in the case where I want to do something more, I need to do something more about it. It's not just a single instruction anymore. So that's where the curly braces comes in. So in this case, I want to say if I want to add more instruction, that if response dot okay, that means if response dot okay, if it is true. You know, if it is true, that means it's successful. If it is false, then it's not successful. So you can say if response dot okay, or if response dot status is equal to 200. It's equal to 200, right? You can say this also. So if response dot status is equal to 200 means it is okay also. But then the best thing to use is what? Response dot okay. That means if response dot okay, that means if it is true, then do something. So do something, but then the best way to do it is what? If response dot not okay, that means you have to negate this instruction. This sign is a sign to negate, to make something false. If response dot okay is not true, please, let's not get lost here. Let's not get lost, right? This is a negate operator. Yeah, it is an operator, and then it is a negate operator. That means if you say, let me just explain that. If you say if Bola, or let's say const, let name be equals to 2, for example. So if name is equal to 2, names. Okay, if names is equal to 2, then console.log name, right? So this thing now is going to return names, because name is equal to 2, right? But then I want to check if it is not equal to 2. That's, I want to negate this my condition. How do I negate it? Is just to add this negate sign at the beginning of my operator. That's, I think I should have explained that for a long time, Shabo. I've been missing it. So this is a negate operator. That means if it is not true. The same thing you can say if it is not greater than. You know, we have this greater than here. So you can say if 2 is greater than 5, then do something. At the same time, you can say if it is not. Or if it is not, something like this. I think, is there not for greater than? Okay, we'll just use less than here instead. Just use less than here. So what we do is equal to, right? Then you add this. If 3 is not equal to 5, this is the meaning of this. If you add this like this, if 3 is equal to 5, this is it. So equal means if it is equal to. If you add this, that means if it is not equal to. So this sign, this symbol is a not symbol. That means if it is not true. The same thing is happening here, that if you put it this way, that means if response.okay, right? If that means if it is true. But if you add this thing, that means if response.okay is not true. That means if our response does not come with true okay sign, that means if response.okay is not true. If it is not true, do something. That means it's an error, right? If response.okay is not true, then it is what? It is false. and then false is what? Error. Like this, if response.ok, that means if this is true, then we'll do something. But if it is not true, that's the only time we want to do something. If response.ok is not true, definitely it is false if it is not true. That means our response is throwing an error. Then we say console.error. This is to console an error. That means I want to print error. This is an error, right? Definitely if this is not true, then the response is what? Error. Then console.error response.json. Just like this. So I want to print out the error if this thing is not true. But then if it is true, I will now say console.log response.json. Just like this. Let me remove this. Okay. So this is what we have. So I'm fetching, and then I'm saying after fetching, I represent my data with a response. So first thing I will need to check if response, remember we did console.log response, which is coming up with what? All of this. So we want to check if response.ok. If it is not okay, that means if response.ok is not okay, if it is not true, that means it is false. Then throw an error that, okay, there's an error. But then if this is not true, that means if the response is okay, this part will not run at all. That's a condition. So if this is true, that means this part will not run, then it's going to jump to line 18 and then console.log response.json. Let's see. All right, this is a promise. So let's just do this. I can't explain that promise right now. Let me return response.json. Remember when I was using this thing before, when I was using a single instruction, I was not adding a return. That's because it is a single instruction. But as soon as I added my curly braces, then I have to include a return because it is not a single instruction anymore. There are a lot of instructions there. So I have to tell JavaScript which one to return. So I'm returning this. Then after that, I will now say .then. So after returning this, what do you want to happen again? .then now represent my response, my return statement, which is the data, JSON data, with a JSON, and then console.log the data. Now let's see what we have. Now we have our data again. So the same thing is still the same process. What we are just trying to do is to check first if the response is okay. If it is not okay, then throw an error. Response console.log error. You can use throw, but there's a lot of things to learn, a lot. You can use throw error. This is throw error. So you throw error like this. Or you can just go up and just use your console.error. So we have console.log to log something that is meaningful, that is success. While.error to log error code. Anything that is error, use console.error. So if it is error, return this. But then if it is not, skip this part and come to response.json. So I want you to return response.json. So after returning it, after doing the conversion and all of those things, what else do you want us to do? I want us to now represent that our JSON object that we've converted to it with a JSON and then console.log the JSON. So now that's what we have. So now let's assume we want to change the post to something else. So I want to change the post to something. Okay, thank you very much, Femi. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's check. Fine. If you check your chart now, you see Femi Place has dropped all the status code on our chart. You can see it 100 to 199, 200 to 299, 200, just the way you want it. Just you can copy it for your own reference purpose. Okay, now I want to change my query. They call this one a query. I want to change my query from post to photo to to-dos or to users, right? So I can just come here and change the query like this. I can say users. So if I should send it now, I will also get the same thing, users here. But then users is just 10 here. So I will get just 10 users. So yeah, I have the names, their company, the email address, ID, the normal object that we used to have, and all of that. So the next thing is I've been able to fetch my data using the user. So I don't want to mention the post today. We are going to talk about post method. That means how to post, put, and delete. So we're going to talk about those ones next on Thursday. So let's just focus on this get for now and then know it very well. So I've been able to fetch my data, then check if there's an error. If there is no error, then convert the response to a JSON format, and then print out the response, print out the data after everything, which is the last one here. So in the case where you want to change from user to a post, you don't want to, and you can't be changing this part any query. This is a query actually. This is the main this is the main endpoint. This is the main endpoint, right? And then this is a query. So how do I even manipulate my query? Let's assume I want to manipulate my query. I don't want to call only users only. I want to be able to call maybe post at some point, or maybe call user, or maybe call comment or something. How do you do that? Is to make this a template literal, because we want to add something to it. Just remove this string first. Add your template literal here. Remove this one. Add template literal here. Right, and then this user now will now change it to what query. Just call this query. This could be anything. It could be any name. It could be query ID. It could be query name. It could be whatever that you want to name it. So you can now say const query will now be equals to what? The query that you want to have, users. So why I'm using this, in some cases, maybe we have a select option, right? So that when you click on this select, then this one is going to change to what? Post. When you click on another one, remember our last task, the quiz app, you can change and then select different answers. When you click and you select different answers, that means you can also change these users from user to what? To post, to comment, to any other thing. So in that case, I don't want to be coming here and be changing it every time. I can just represent that user to what? With a query. So that every time the query changes, this one is also going to what? Change. Every time the query here changes, this one is also going to change. Now let's try something like that. We already know this. It's just template literal and then adding a string or a variable to your template literal to your string. So now let's console this. Let's see what we have. We are still going to get our users. So we still have our users, right? And then as soon as I now change, from users here to post, let's say I change to post, save, and I'll get a different response. I'll get a post. So if I change to comment also, comment, now paste it or save it, I'll get what? Right, I'll get comment. Now let's try something. If this endpoint is not correct, then we should get an error. So let's see. As you can see now, it is an error. Body frame, okay. This is an error 404. That means not found because I'm using comment. Normally, comment is supposed to have an S. Supposed to have S. So, but then I remove the S, which means it's giving me what? Error 404. If you check what family is saying, you're going to see it from the options there. 404 is not found. Can you see it? So that's not found, right? Then what you need to do, you have to be very sure of what you are copying or the endpoint or the query that the endpoint is providing. So with this, we get our comment back. That's as easy as it is. So now if I have input from my HTML that I want user to be able to select, I can just say that input dot inner HTML is equal to what? The query. Or maybe query or whatever it is I'm getting from my input is equal to query. So for every time I'm making a change in my input, my data is also what? Changing. For every time I make a change, my data is what? Changing. So it's as simple as that. Any question on this before we move forward? I just want to display that data for us. Let's see how the data is going to be displayed using this fetch method. Please, any other question? I will just take like 20 minutes of their time because it's already 12. I'll just take 20 minutes to do that. Okay, there's no question. All right, now let's see what we can do. Let's have a UI. We're going to be using a user. Let's just use users. So let's see the response. Let's see the structure of their response. Let's see how it's coming. Okay, we have the first data. Okay, we have address. Inside the address, we have what? See what I was telling you last week, that you can have multiple stuff inside a data. You have address. Inside the address, we have geo. So inside the geo, we are okay, that's all, latitude and all of that. So we have address, we have company, we have email, ID, yeah, address, company, email, ID, name, phone, username, and then a website. So we want to display all of this data. So let's get that. We're going to be, let's just use a simple UI, a very simple UI. So let me put other part, something like that. So I will say, just create the data first. Create how you want it to look like first. So I don't have Tailwind here, so I mean, I don't have time to go. If you have access to that, sorry, to that Bootstrap link, can you just drop it to the chat so I can use it? That will be faster. But if you don't have it, no wahala. Let's just go forward. So let's say dot flex or row. Okay. I want to have a row. So I'll say dot column 4, right? Here also I'll have column 4. Okay, let's just do the first one. So we have our card. So inside our card, we want to display the image. I think it's coming with the image, right? I think we have image. Do we have image? Oh, there's no image. I thought there's image. Okay, there's no image. So we don't need image. We only need to have something, the name, phone number, username, website, email address, then the company name, if it is important, if you can do that, then the city. Okay, let's just do something. Let's start with the name. Let's say, okay, P, then we have name, right? Name like this. Name, this should be email, as email address. Then what else? Name, email address, phone number, then username, right? Then we have email, name, phone number, username, website. But since website is a link, let's just put it inside. This is not a link. It's not a correct link, but let's just forget that. All right, so we have email, name, phone number, username, and website. So we are going to display the address also, like a city, the street name. So let's just do that like in a flex format. So let's put it this way, copy this. So dot row, I want to flex this, right? I wish someone can just copy that thing for me. I appreciate that. I mean the Bootstrap CDN. So we have dot column 6. I want to display 2 things or card. Right, that's the first card, and then the second one. No, this is wrong. This is okay. Yeah, it is right. Inside the row, I have the first column, so I'm going to have the second column also inside this row. Yeah. So I'll have this, and let's see what we have now. But yeah, this is going to be what? Address. So city. This is going to be street. Then we have let's forget about other ones. Let's just go to the company. Let's say company name, right? And then what else? Company catchphrase. Let's just use company catchphrase. Company catchphrase. And then what else? Zip code. Let's just add zip code as the last thing. Zip code. All right. Do I have the CDN? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Francesca. Okay, the scripts. Thank you. Bless you. All right. So copy this. Let's go to the link. Okay, and then the CDN. I don't think this is even, we don't need the script, but let's just use it.
Okay. All right, save. Now let's see what we have in our UI. Let's see what we have now. Why is this to be small? Okay, so this is what we have. We have the name and then this. Why is this longer? Why is it longer? What is going on? I have a row, column 4. Oh, okay, I think I get it. Yep. Let's use column 2, just 2 on a row. Column 2. Oh, sorry, 6. Okay, so this is what we have now. This is how we want our UI to look like. So we are going to have the name. This one is just a very simple one. We're going to display each of the person's name, the email address, phone number, username, and all of that. We're going to display it here. So now remember what we did last. So just copy your column like this, copy everything like this, cut it out, and then go to your app.js. So inside your displays that you have your JSON, just remove this one. That means, this is where we have the data, right? This is where we have the data. So just do this. Remember, we want to have other instruction. Currently, we are using console.log.json because it is just a single instruction. But we want to have other instruction there. So we are going to open a curly braces, open like this. And then what do we say? We say our normal stuff, get your row first. Get your row, then inner HTML of that row. I'm just trying to, a very shortcut way. I'll say document dot query selector. Then what am I getting? I'm getting my row, right? So dot inner HTML. This is just a very quick one. Inner HTML equal to So JSON dot map. JSON dot map. Let's not get confused though. It's just the same thing. Or let me make it easier for us so we don't get confused. Let's say let row be equals to document dot query selector. So we are selecting the row first where we want to display our data dot row. So we selected that. Then here, let's use what we have been using normally. We say JSON, let's fetch or display be equals to JSON dot map. So we are mapping through our data that comes now. This data that we have, we want to map through it dot map. So represent each of these objects with a variable. What are we representing it with? Let's say each, for example. And then after that, we want to return. What are we returning? Do this and then paste that thing that you copied. Don't forget your template literal and then the HTML structure that you copied. That's what we want to display. All right. So we have to now replace each of these, like add each to all of this thing that we want to display. Just add it here, add it here, add it here, all of that. So before that, let's say display, you now say row.innerHTML, row.innerHTML will now be equals to what? Display dot join. We already know this joiner. So dot join. So let's save it. I'm coming. Is something wrong? No. That should be outside. Sorry. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so now let's save it and see what we have now. Okay, so I've not added the data, I've not added it to this our syntax. But because remember the data is what? 10. And what map will do is map does not know what you are putting in. Its own instruction is just to display the item in the number of data that you are fetching. The number of data that you have, it will just display it however you want it in the number. As far as the number of item is 10 or the number of data is 10, it will display whatever you have 10 times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what we need to do now is to now change everything that we have inside our data. Just change this name will now be what? We are adding another thing to this one. Say each dot name, but let's confirm that. Let's see. Okay, I need to console so I can see what I'm still doing. Console.log JSON. So I'll see what I need to be fixing. Okay. Okay, so the name, okay, name, that's name, phone, username, and email. All right, each dot name, just copy this, don't repeat yourself. Don't just copy it, yeah, that's what I want to say. Phone, right? Yeah, no, email. Email. So yeah, paste it again. Change this one to what? Phone. Remember, it has to be the name that you have in the object. Then here we have username, right? Username. And then here we have what? Website. Website. Okay. So that's that. Now the second card now will now be what? We're going to go inside city. So city is inside where? Address. So we have address.city. That will be just each dot address dot city. So we have each dot address dot city, because it is not outside, it's actually inside something. So the second one is what? Street. So each dot address dot street also. Dot address dot street. Right? Then the third one is the street name. I think company name, yeah. Company name, yeah. So we're going to say each dot company name dot name. Each dot company name dot name. Each dot company, okay. Dot name, right? Then here will be company dot passphrase, company dot catch phrase. Okay, catch phrase. If that's correct. Yeah. Then the last one is zip code, which will be inside address too. So we say dot address dot zip code. Dot address dot zip code. Zip code. Now let's save it and see what we have. Right now, we've been able to just change and then use our data to display, to represent everything that we want to do. Now let's see what we have. Fine. Let's see. Okay. So here we have our data. Name is Graham. Email is Sincere Previous. Phone number is this. Username is Bennett. City is Gwemborough. Street is Coolers Light. Name of company and all of this. As you can see, everything is working as we want it. So we can change the UI however you want it. You can drop this one down to look nice or do anything you want to do. But basically what we've been able to successfully do now is we've been able to fetch data from JSON placeholder using users as our query. We're using users as our query. We're only fetching for user. We're not fetching post or comment. For now, we're fetching users. And then we use the fetch method. Here we say, remember, I did not put my fetch inside any function. So that's why we don't need to call the function. I can decide I want to put it inside the function. I can say function fetch data, something like that, equals to, it's also the same thing. I can decide to do this, just paste all of this, right? And then call your function here. Do you understand? So, but then let's just stick to this. It's the same thing, no issues at all. I don't want us to get confused. So we fetch our data using the API. We say fetch API URL. Then after fetching, now check if the response is okay. If the response is not okay, return an error. But then if it is okay, return response.json. That's convert the response to a JSON format. And why are we adding return here? Because we do not have a single instruction inside this our block of code. If it is a single instruction, then we don't need a curly braces. But then as far as you have a curly braces, then you need a return statement. As far as you have a curly braces, you need a return statement. If you don't have a return a curly braces, that means it's a single instruction. So that's that. Then after that, after converting it, then now give me the data itself. That's where we get to this one, JSON, console.log JSON. So we console this so that we can see the structure of the data, then to know how we can display it in our UI. Then after doing that, we go to our HTML, write the code, go to our HTML. Okay, so we go to our HTML, we write the code, right? After writing the structure of how we want it to look like, we copy everything that we have inside and then come here to map through the JSON, because JSON is our data. So we map through the JSON.map each. We're representing each object with each. So we now, that thing that we copied, we drop it inside the template literal after the return statement. Return this syntax. Then what are you returning? Add each.name, each.email, each.phone number, and all of this. We added it as the variables to display. And then after that, we get our row.innerHTML will now be equals to display, which is this. Remember, we store this one inside the display. So it's now going to be display.join. And you already know why I added this join, because I said array mostly comes with a separated with a comma. So without this join, you're going to be having that comma sign, which is not really nice. Okay, so that's why we have to add the join to remove the comma. So that's that about that. Let's see if we can add small space on that. Let me give margin bottom 4. Okay, so any question, please? Any question, please? We've been able to do this. So any question? Any question? Any question? That's all we're going to do for today. So tomorrow or on Thursday, we are going to talk about how, you can change the picture or make it look as in just the UI, however you want to use it. So, and at the same time, you can still change this. But one thing is, the structure of each data varies. Structure of, currently we are using user. Currently we are fetching by user. So if I should fetch by post, the structure is going to be different, because post may not have email, post may not have phone. That's why each of these things you have to fetch it separately. If you want to use post, you fetch it separately with a different syntax like this. If you want to use comment, you fetch it separately, because comments may not have name, may not have website. So that's why you cannot just replace this query, this particular one. You cannot just replace it with what? With comment. It's going to throw an error, because to tell you that something is not available in the endpoint. So that's that. So we're able to display our data. Next week, we'll talk about how you can create your own data and add it to this endpoint by just typing something and then click on post, and then it's going to be added to this endpoint, and that's it. So any question, please? Any question? If you have any question, feel free to raise your hand. If you don't have, let's just call it a day. Okay, George, please. Okay, I think that's a mistake.
Hello,
All right.
boss.
Okay, I'm with you.
It's not a mistake. I wanted to know, the if and else statement you did the first time to check the data. If you're working on it, is it necessary we use that? Let's say we just wanted to practice on code, or we just go straight to the template literal and mapping it. It's not, right?
It's not necessary. If you, well, I'm just trying to, best practice is you have to add it. But let's see, this is just a practice. You're just training. You can do without this. You can skip it. It's not necessary. The fact that you are sure, JSON placeholders will always return a true if your query is correct. If everything, if the API is correct, it's always return a true.
But it might show false if you try adding your own personal data. That's why you should.
Exactly. Okay. So in case you are trying to post, what if you are posting the wrong thing? So that time and return a post. So that's where we need to do this. If response is not equal to okay. So that's just that. But then you can do without it. So I think everyone is okay. So like I said, we fetch, we convert, we check first. If it is okay, then we convert. Then we now use our data, our JSON to map so that we can get all of our data. We've done this thing before, so it should be very easy for us. So that means there's no ands. We're all okay. Thank you very much. You guys are really, really doing well. I think we've been making a lot of research, so that's really, really interesting. I think of doing something. I've forgotten. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, guys. That's just all for today. We will meet again on Thursday. Well, before then, maybe today. I don't know if Femibless will have the time. He has been the one grading, so I don't really know our performances. So that's why I don't want to be too much involved in the grouping. So I would like to have, if you can have, maybe we'll just meet after the class. If you can have, say, 10 per group, or if it is more than, then we're going to mix up ourselves. It's not just having a group of Jasmine, Abire, Jasmine, Abire, who's Esther, and all those guru in one group is not going to look nice. So we cannot have Abire and Esther or Abire and Jasmine in the same group. So that's what we are going to try as much as possible to see if we can separate that. And also the men, but the female are doing that. Okay.
Yeah, simple. So thank you
All
very
right,
much.
boss.
Yeah, most times I only grade in the middle of the night. That's when I chat. So, but you don't have to give only me to the grading. You just supposed to check out on the other side. Yeah. Oh, so guys, I would just say the grading will be done random. It will be totally random. But
Okay.
I won't put I won't put I won't put some of the top guys I know. I'll put some of the top guys I know in the same
Okay.
distance, in the same group. But I'll find a way to do it. Don't worry, we can if you are free after the class, just let me know
Okay.
so we can just do one or two.
Okay. But I would drop a message as soon as I'm free. I'll let you
Yeah, all right.
but I don't really know what to ask.
It's me
Thank
you
God.
gave your flash.
Did you just say you did not get anything? Let me stop recording first. Subhanallah. I've not been recording this class. I've not been recording this class. I've not been recording. Okay. I think I missed, my network went off and the network did not, the recording did not come back. I don't know where I stopped, honestly, and it's really, really painful.
No. The recording is still a recording on my own thing.
It's still recording down there.
Yes.
Okay, that's better. I thought the recording, because from my end now it's not recording anymore. Okay, I'll just stop the recording. I don't know if you can stop it. So you can just call it a day now. Okay, Obioma, what exactly is it that you did not get, please? Like you did not get anything from the fetching. Is it from the fetching or the collaboration? You know, we talked about collaboration. You did not get that part, or is it the fetching API, or which one exactly did you not get? Well, you can always go back to the video and then, you know, and you can
I
always
think
colleague. Yeah.
when they upload the video, then I will go back through it.
Okay. Okay. All right. No, Allah. Thank you very much for your honesty. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I don't know if Fembles has anything to say, but then in absence of that, we'll just call it a day so we can prepare or just, prepare, go and make a research on how to use API, fetch and all of those things and again, make yourself better. Thank you very much and have a good day. Stop sharing. Okay, Sammy, you have your hand raised. Ayo, sorry, I didn't see that. Sammy, please, your question. I didn't see your hand. Okay, Sammy is not here. Okay, Sammy.
Something I didn't really get it. No.
You didn't. Okay, well, the video can help, and then maybe next week again when we talked about it again. You know, when you repeat it like twice, maybe you guys will get it again, and then the video will help also.
If they can post the video like
well, the video posting is not in my hand. You say you know, so it's not in my hand. So, so you can reach out to the guy at the top. Okay, Ayo.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon. So actually it's not concerning about today's class. What I'm just after is that the team project phase.
Yes.
I don't message. And
can you come again?
Because I don't when I see
oh God, you're breaking.
I didn't see my
seriously, I didn't get it, you know. Ayo. I can't say I hear anything that you said just now. I don't know if someone can just repeat what he said. If I did not hear it, Sha.
I think he was talking about the teams for the tax. They can't get to know.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Okay, David, do you have something? Did you get him clearly? I didn't get what Ayo said.
No, actually, I did not get him clearly. I just want to ask my own question.
Okay.
Okay, it's concerning the last tag. So I just want to ask, on our UI, do we have to show the score every time we choose an answer, or can we just keep that maybe to the end of the answering the questions, then we show the total score?
You can keep it to the end. But you can decide your
Alright.
UI. Like Femble said, just be creative, right? Just be
Alright.
creative and make it make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Okay, that's all. I don't know. Maybe Ayo will have to like get to us on the group chat because he's out of the class already. So, all right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.